Hey everyone, welcome back to TJ Hates Quitters over here on Silent Podcast, where we are anything but silent. We are talking about the Challenge 38 episodes 6 and 7. I'm Kari. I'm joined by my co-host Katie. Katie, we have forgotten how to podcast. The fact that I didn't entirely mess up the intro, pat on the back for me. How have you been?
I've been good. You nailed it. Totally nailed it. I've been good. I've been good. I mean, we had holidays and work and life and stuff, so we were away, but now we're back. Ready to
Yes.
get in the saddle.
Yes.
Feeling good.
Yeah. Traveling for the holidays was tough just because if you think it's bad when Nitro barks, dude, it would have been awful at my parents because
Oh, no,
every
really?
time Nitro heard my parents' dogs,
It
he
was a
would bark.
chorus of barks.
Oh, it wasn't even so much a chorus because the three upstairs didn't really care about Nitro, but Nitro very much cared about them, and he made
Oh,
sure that everybody knew. So it was a lot of barking. I'm not joking. I had a 30-minute meeting for work, and Nitro barked for 26 minutes of
oh my
because
God.
my dad was going up and down the stairs. He heard the
Uh-huh.
dogs, and I'm just like, I'm supposed to be like a professional right
Oh my
now. And
goodness.
so yeah, it podcasting at home. I brought all the stuff for it, but it just would not have
Wouldn't have
gone
worked out.
over well.
That's okay.
It was worth the hiatus, but we're back.
Yeah, everybody needs a break,
Hmm.
As
Absolutely,
did we.
yes. And now we're back to talk about episodes 6 and 7, which there's been some interesting things happening in these episodes.
Yeah, there really have been. I feel like I'm just confused a lot of the time. Maybe in a good way, maybe in a bad way. I can't really tell. Just by thought process, I guess. Thought processes are confusing me across the board, and that's pretty
Yeah.
much where I stand right now.
Okay, I just thought of this. I so my best friend watches a challenge,
Okay.
and she got into it because of me. So she's gone back and watched a lot of older seasons, but I don't know if she's seen all of them. And she's watched a couple of seasons of Survivor. She's like in and out of I almost said social media shows, reality TV shows.
Yeah.
I've been forgetting
Sometimes they are
very
social
easy
media
words
shows.
today. Yeah, they really are. And so if you want to drop the word casual when you talk about Tosh and her relationship to it, you could. And I'm not big on the term casual because like it's a TV show and I do not need to like have this deep emotional
Yeah.
connection to
No
it in order to be
gatekeeping.
considered a fan. Yeah. So let me find you the text message she sent me um, regarding. Oh, here it is. I didn't think we talked this much between. Um, I thought it was more recent. So let me read you the text message exchange that we had about episode 6
Okay.
of this show.
Okay.
Uh, I'm going to bleep out one word because I don't agree. I like this word. I think we've even used this word, but
Mm,
I do not agree with calling this person this word because we'll see in the conversation.
okay.
So Tosh texts me and goes, "Oh my God, Michelle is a motherfucking C word."
I knew it was going to
and,
be. Yeah, I knew.
and I seriously almost turned off the challenge. I can't stand her voice anymore either. I can't even listen to her talk. She's an idiot and then sits in interrogation and is clearly ready to shit her pants when each pair comes in. Like, buck the fuck up, you C word.
Oh my God. Two double C words.
Yeah. Well, we also dropped the C word quite liberally in our friendship. And
I drop
my
it quite
reply
liberally in
was,
my life, so I'm not
yeah,
offended.
same, absolutely. So I said, I love Michelle, LOL. She's just playing a really weird social game right now. Now, mind you, I wasn't watching this episode as it was airing because I tutor on Wednesday nights. So she was watching this live,
Oh,
texting me,
okay.
which, like, I
Okay.
tell her, go ahead. I don't care. Like, I don't care about spoilers. So she goes, what, how, why? I was like, I don't know. I've seen her play 2 seasons of Survivor.
Yeah.
And Tosh goes, she made so many dumb moves and looks like she's ready to crap herself each time a pair comes into interrogation. She replied to my, I've seen her play 2 seasons of Survivor just with the thumbs down emoji. And then this is the best part. She goes, LOL, maybe she's better at cooking bugs in the wild and finding horcruxes. Sorry, I'm full of it tonight.
Horcruxes? Oh
And
my
I go,
God.
and that was exactly my reaction, was finding Horcruxes. I was like, she's known to have one of the best social games in Survivor.
Yeah.
And so then I said finding Horcrux, or she replied to the finding Horcruxes part, and she goes, those necklace things. And I
Oh
go,
my God.
I know what they are. I know what Horcruxes are. I don't understand the reference, but I'm not watching.
Is she
right
referring
now.
to
And then
idols?
exactly. That's when it clicked. I'm like, she's talking about immunity idols. She's calling immunity idols.
That's kind of
Horcrux.
incredible. That's kind of incredible.
And she goes, yeah, those things. Sorry, I took an edible.
Okay, well, I want to be friends with your friend. That's my takeaway from that. And I've been thinking a little bit about Michelle's game, and I feel like Survivor players in the challenge are interesting because Survivor's such a different game. Like, it's so different. And I think we talked about it. I don't know, it's been so long since we talked about the show that I don't remember, but I think we talked a little bit about it in the sense of like, when you get put up, when you win a challenge in Survivor, it's not like you have power to put people up on a block or put people into an elimination. It's just like you're keeping yourself safe. So there are so many of these like 1 week deals that people make for votes and stuff like, and there are alliances and whatever. But I think that like really alters maybe Michelle and Jay's game. Jay maybe less so just because he's played more of the challenge, but I feel like Michelle is really coming in with that mindset of like, have to blindside this person, make a big move, whatever, even though there's clearly no jury. It's a little bit different. You wield power much differently in the challenge than you do Survivor. So I just feel like maybe she has a little bit of that Survivor lingering in her, and it's not translating well to the challenge and how she's playing the game.
Yeah, I think that it's clear that these two are not like students of the game by any means. You know, like I know Jay was a fan when he beat CT, and a little side note on CT, the part of the conversation after that was also I read CT got divorced, filed for divorce this week. And I go, yeah, single CT at age 40 back in the challenge house would be great. And she goes, he's 42. I just Googled it. You know, since he's back on the market again, should I slide into his DMs?
Yes.
And tell him that I think his tangrams are sexy and add a wink face. So
yes,
I just had
a great DM.
Get that out there. Is that like we know Jay was all hyped up when he beat CT, and CT was like, don't make it weird. But in terms of the strategy of it,
they're not like, what's her name from The Amazing Race from the Challenge USA? What was that girl's name who got everything
Kayla.
wrong? Yeah, who was like, I'm the biggest fan, but she like didn't know what she was talking about. Yeah.
She used like layup wrong and everything.
Yeah.
Like things that I think are classic challenge moves, and not that there's anything wrong with like trying to mix it up, but when you try to mix it up and it doesn't go well, then like classic challenge moves are once someone gets thrown in, you keep throwing them in because you don't need more targets. And so for Jay and Michelle to throw in Laurel and Jack and then win the next challenge and have to put someone back in, and they put in not Laurel and Jack.
Well, they did put in Laurel and Jack, right?
No, but they didn't put them into
directly in. Right.
Yeah. They put in Jordan and Anissa. Like, why? You've already, like, at least if you keep Jordan and Anissa in the draw, you've created a situation where, like, they're the same level of angry, but putting them in?
Well, I almost feel like they would have been more angry or equally as angry because obviously Bananas and Casey are saving each other, or Nani and Casey are saving each other. So it's like, unless they pulled the safe thing, they were going in anyway, which I think also kind of pissed them off a little bit. And just the whole thing, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't really know what they're trying to accomplish. That's why I'm confused. I just don't know what are they looking to do? Just like get out a vet or a big name, or like, I don't know. It seemed like to me that Jordan and Anissa were open to working with them. And I felt like that was genuine. And it just felt like, I don't know, they just threw that opportunity out the window.
I guess I understand. Oh no, maybe it was the next one, but even with this one, but at this point when you have to throw 4 teams in,
just throw the same teams in. Why are you pissing more people off?
Yeah. I just think it's hard to make a big move. And their desire to do so.
Very Survivor.
Yeah, that, and I think part of it is I think Michelle is friends or friendly with some of these people, but when you bring in ties like Nani to a lot of these people, Bananas to a lot of these people, like, did we see Bananas and Laurel interact once in any fucking episode? And
No.
Laurel's there and Bananas is like, I might be closer to her in this game than like anybody I've ever played with.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
That I think part of it is Michelle and Jay are in a weird spot where like they're technically not rookies, but and they're technically vets. However, they don't have the relationships with the vets that the other vets have with each other.
Right.
When you
Right.
have like Darrell, Veronica, Bananas, who have been doing this, Anissa, who've been doing this for 2 decades each, and then to call Michelle a vet in the same breath is like, I think part of it just comes from not having the relationships or hoping, like the whole her and Nani thing and how that just fell apart.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of it is so confusing in terms of like, why did you do this? But is your perception of things different than our perception? Which I'm sure, because can't trust these goddamn MTV
Right. And
editors.
there's so many
So
things it turns out we're not getting shown. Like I haven't really been reading a ton on Reddit or much on social media in the last couple of weeks, but I know people are still complaining about the edit and things not being shown. And I think even from what I understand, I mean, you couldn't catch me dead listening to Johnny Bananas podcast, but it does, I think he had Devin on and they spoke about things that weren't shown on the show. So, yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting way that they're telling us the story this season, but it's also mind-boggling some of the decisions that are being made. Just completely mind-boggling.
yeah, and
Even
I
in
saw
the next episode with Nelson, and you know I ride for Nelson harder than I ride for almost anyone other than Darrell, and like I don't know what was going on with Nelson either.
I mean, we can talk about that now too. Let's talk about all the weird
Yeah.
decisions.
Yeah, we're going out of order here today. We have 2
We're all
episodes to cover.
vibes. We're vibes.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry, I thought you were
I don't know.
keep going with
I thought
it.
you were going to say something too.
I'm looking on the Reddit right now.
Yeah, no, I think Devin, I think Nelson putting in Amber was so out of left field, and I don't understand how Devin can get inside of, and listen, Nelson is Nelson, we know, but like Nelson had a pretty good run last time, and this time the people that he chose to go in, who was it? It was Amber and Chauncey, it was Darrell and Veronica, it was, remind me the other two because I don't remember.
I'm thinking.
He didn't put in Casey and Kenny because he didn't want to do that to Nani. Oh, Nani and Bananas? Because Nani was like yelling at him, right? And they picked the safe dagger?
Because I was thinking during the interrogation that they were going to put Nani and Bananas in.
Yeah, and that was like the plan from the beginning, was for them to put Nani and Bananas in directly. And then Nelson just went off script because of some reason he decided to put in Amber, who it seemed like he could really have trusted. And I don't understand why everybody hates Amber so much.
I need to
give me the reason. I need the reason. I need the reason because I don't see it. I do not see it.
I just don't get it because, okay, so we clearly don't see it. We agree on that. However, something that's confusing to me is she's had this reputation for like every single season that she's been on.
I don't understand
what happens, and I think last season in Double Agents, Lies, Spies, Allies, whatever it's called, Spies, Lies, and Allies, I think it came to light a little bit more that if she is this type of person, because again, we don't really see it, I can understand the frustration where she tells everyone, like, I'm a loyal player, you can trust me, but like she just tells it. It's like the same of like, oh yeah, I'm a nice guy. Like, you don't need to tell me you're nice, just be nice, or
just
like
be
I'm
nice.
fun. Yeah. And so I don't know if it's something like that, but it's very strange that she comes out of this season after season with this reputation. And of course, there's the other side of it where it's very easy to, if you're Tori, if you're Casey, who I know Casey won last season, but like up until then, I guess Nani to an extent, but other people on like that side of the house to just say that she's not trustworthy, to say that she's all these things. And if enough people are saying it, are you going to believe it?
Right. I don't know. It is weird. And if it's like, this is going to be the consistent storyline season over season over season that Amber's on, you need to give us, at least like ask them the question in their confessionals so we can understand. Because right now I'm not following the story. Either they're not showing us something, which is likely, but to not show us for 3 seasons or 4 seasons in a row, however many she's been on, like it just doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely.
And it's frustrating as a viewer because it's like the concept of it all just makes no sense to me. Like, especially for her to be thrown in by Nelson, who seemed like obviously they were really close. I won't use the words ride or dies because that's obviously not what they were technically and literally. But I don't know. And I don't know. And just like hearing the reasoning of like Chauncey having a conversation with someone and it's just like, what? I don't know. The whole thing was just bizarre to me. The fact that he flipped so quickly and that Devin got into his brain like that so quickly was just bizarre.
Devin is
the devil
on a different level this season. I
cannot stand Devin. I know you don't dislike Devin. I don't know if you like Devin, but
I'm not anti-Devin.
I'm big time anti-Devin.
I think I mean I don't think that like this is necessarily a good thing, but I think he is trying to be the 2022 or like, you know, the 2020s version of a combo of Wes and Bananas. You know what I mean? But he doesn't he has gotten better athletically. Like he holds his own athletically more so than he used to in the past. And he has this like Wesish type of thing to him, like Bananas said, of the manipulation. But Wes has always done it in a way where it's like, I'm going to get all these people who don't know better to be on my side, where all these people know better with Devin because this is him. But like, he doesn't even get the reputation that like a Kyle does, who is like,
he's just like snaky. Yeah.
But again, like Devin has a point in that he's never really like fucked over anybody that he's worked with. You know what I mean? Like he's never really had to like turn and stab an ally in the back. And he made that point last season. I don't know. I understand why anybody doesn't like Devin. And I'm kind of liking the way that he's being portrayed to us of like, listen, I've tried to do things in a certain way and sometimes you gotta get some blood on your hands. And he's taking on this villain role. And I'll take that over someone acting like Devin, but then pretending that they aren't acting like a Devin.
Yeah, I don't know. Devin, to me, he just is trying really hard to be, I think you said it exactly. He's trying to be a combo of Bananas and Wes. And it's just like so obvious that he's trying to put himself into this like caricature of people and like play this role where it's just so beyond frustrating to watch. And I think the way he spoke to Michelle was absolutely disgusting. Like that was inexcusable. And the fact that Johnny Bananas of all people has to have a confessional and be like Devin speaking to her and gaslighting her into the, and I want to ask your opinion. Did Johnny Bananas use gaslight in the right way in your opinion? No. Okay.
I actually have an Instagram story about
I saw it and I was going to respond to it and just with a laughing face because it's perfect. It's perfect for you who hates that word or hates it used incorrectly.
In case you don't know, I fucking hate the word gaslight.
Yes.
And it's Webster Merriam's word of the year, which
why?
Well, no, here's exactly why. Because people need to fucking look up the definition and realize that they're using it wrong. I actually applaud it being the word of the year because there's so many people who actually need to open up a dictionary and figure out what it actually means.
Do you think they're going to change the definition of it like they did with literally? to mean literally the opposite of literally because people were using the word incorrectly.
I hope not.
I hope not too. Eric also in the chat made a comment about Amber, saying there isn't anything. I'm biased as an Amber stan, but it reminds me of Big Brother 24, which I can totally see. Like it feels like they're all piling on this girl for no reason, and she's just completely isolated and alone in the house, and I don't understand it.
Michelle's friends with her, and I've always trusted Michelle's friendships with people. Like if I were to ever become friends with Michelle, I'd be like, oh, this person's probably good. So
Yeah.
I trust Michelle Fitzgerald.
Well, and I appreciate Michelle for not giving in to Devin. And I feel like that's maybe Michelle's being like very emotional this season and making weird decisions, but I feel like she also isn't one to be really like fucked with often.
Yeah.
Like she can hold her own. And Devin trying to manipulate her and say like, "Oh, you need to," like that was just so beyond to me, and I'm really glad Michelle was like, "Fuck you, dude. Like I'm not the one."
Yeah. No, I thought she was put in such a shitty situation and she handled herself well, and I wouldn't expect her to like bow down to Devin by any means.
No.
And I did think it was kind of shitty that Michelle is out there defending Amber, and Amber just like
It's like
stayed listening by the sliding door
Yeah.
and didn't come out and be like, this is what I said. Why are you coming at her about something that I supposedly said or whatever?
Right.
I do wish that there was more, I guess, like camaraderie and integrity in that. Also, I just think it would have been like better drama than just Devin going at Michelle. Plus, all these people just like sitting around and watching. Like, I don't know. If that to Michelle didn't show where she stood in the house,
Yep.
even your friends weren't backing you up.
Yeah, your friends are not your friends. And Tori's another fucking loser who's just sitting there and letting her partner cause all this drama. Like, wouldn't you, even from a gameplay perspective, be like, yo, can you chill? Like, just chill. We don't need this target. Like, people are already suspecting you of being the mastermind and like the puppet master here. Let's like take it down a notch. Mm-hmm. But she's just sitting there being like, okay. I can't stand Tori either. So
not your favorite duo.
Definitely not my favorite duo. Probably my second least favorite duo.
Who's least?
Casey and
her brother.
Kenny? Question mark?
Yeah, sure. You can.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call them.
Yeah. They're my actual least favorite.
There's something about Casey that I don't get it, because I don't know. For example, like, did you notice that her and TJ had a little like banter back and forth as they were getting ready to go start one of the missions? And I can't remember. I think it was in the first of the two episodes we're talking about, where she like yelled something to him, and it was kind of like something about like don't be a loser or something like that. And like TJ yelled it back at her. Like there was something back and forth between the two of them, and we get these little snippets of Casey having a personality. And so I just want to know, like, one, how she's getting on TV like this, if she isn't interesting. Two, like, if you are interesting, but like it's never making TV, why? Because
she's really not. From a Big Brother person who, that was really my first season watching the feed, so I may misremember.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I think about.
She was not interesting.
I don't know. There's just, I'm confused. I feel like I'm missing an important part of Casey that I just don't understand.
I'm sure she's a very nice person, but nice people do not often make for good TV. So like, why do we keep getting subjected to this? I don't understand. Although I will say she's barely on the show. So like, I guess we're not getting subjected to anything because they're not even showing her, which again, why is she on the show? Like, bring someone else in who's more entertaining and you would have better things to watch and better things to show instead of her just being in the background.
I have to admit that I had a thought that I never thought I would have.
Oh no.
I'm scared. No. I think you'll actually be like happy with this one.
Okay.
Is the scene where Casey and Fessel were talking, and she's like, I'll always have your back, and no one's even gonna like say your name in front of me because that's stupid or whatever. As I'm watching this conversation, I'm like, I would swap these two out for Josh in a heartbeat.
I appreciate that. I would as well, which I've defended not defended Josh necessarily, but Josh is better TV than the two of them. And I would rather watch Josh on the challenge 1,000 times than watch Casey and Fessel 1,000 times.
I gained a bit more respect for Josh last season than I had before that, and mostly because he stood up to Fessy in I mean, there's a reason he got kicked out, essentially.
Oh, I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I'm in the dark about last season.
He pushed Josh when they were arguing, and so Fessy got kicked off last season.
Interesting. King Cash says that swapping Josh for Fessy is crazy, and I completely disagree. As I've said, but I just find Josh to be more entertaining TV, even if it's a hate watch. Hate watching Fessy is not fun. It's just I'm full of hate, but at least Josh I can like find humor in and just be like, oh my god, typical Josh. But Fessel's like, why do we need to watch this guy?
All right,
he's the worst.
I'm about to go on a defense of Josh Martinez publicly.
I never thought this would happen because we've had this discussion.
Yeah, King Cash, buckle up. The rest of you who've been around for a while. Here's why. Fessy even said it in one of his confessionals. Like, my game plan is like I try to lay low and just like let my athleticism show, right? Like that's it. That's what he's tried to do every single season. Okay. You're protected by the same season or same people every single season. You have done nothing to increase your opportunity to win the game. Where Josh came in as like an unathletic, just like newborn deer on ice, right? He has some we saw him lose a tug of war to a guy who has one hand, right? Like,
yeah, that's rough.
Yeah. However, and although this part kind of annoys me from a different perspective, like Josh has very much also worked his social game more and more. Like, he went from Devin and him screaming at each other in the house to them working together to get close to being in a final together last season. Like, Josh almost makes it to the final. And Josh had himself set up very well, like with a whole bunch of different alliances, and not even just alliances, but like friendships, relationships, and the way he was able to connect. And in addition, Josh has gotten better at actual challenges. So like Josh has grown and made himself, at least in my eyes, like a more valuable character to the challenge, where Fessy has come in at this level of like, yeah, you played college football and you're athletic, but like you treat women like shit. You're not a good partner. And all you do is hook up with the same woman who's just copy and pasted every single season, maybe even multiple times a season. Like, to me, you offer nothing new that you did a few seasons ago, where Josh has like, Josh cares about winning. Josh cares about being a part of this. And like, not that Fessy doesn't, but in a way where he like puts in the work.
Well, Fessy thinks he's entitled. Like, he doesn't need to put in the work. He already thinks he's the best that ever existed. I mean, we saw him go back and forth with CT about this. And it's just like, where do you come off with this entitled attitude, which Josh doesn't have? And Josh is also just, I find him more entertaining on TV. Like, even Fessy fighting is not interesting to me, and arguing, it's just like, God, this guy's just a dick. Whereas Josh, you can at least like sometimes laugh at what he's saying. Like, I'm not saying he's a good dude or someone I would want to hang out with in my life, but I'd rather watch him on TV for sure.
Yeah. I was sitting there just being like, I would take Josh in place of these two. Let's swap a Ruski.
I would have taken Josh over Memphis on Big Brother All-Stars as well, but he went and got COVID, so would have been a different season if Josh was there. So sometimes we need Josh in the mix.
In conclusion, who thought we would have gone off in a positive way about Josh for 5+ minutes on this podcast?
Well, I have done it before. I've defended Josh's honor. Yes. Whatever honor Josh has, I've defended it in the past, and I'll do it again. Again.
Whatever shape that takes.
Yeah, whatever that looks like, I'm here to defend it.
So yeah, we've got, I don't even know where we're at in talking about these two shows.
I have no idea. We're all over the place.
Okay. let's bring it back to towards the first episode of the two. So Michelle and Jay, when they were in power the episode before, they got a lot of shit from a lot of people about not putting Nani and Bananas into interrogation because Nani and Bananas put them in there. So then this second time around, they put Nani and Bananas in. They put Jack and Laurel. They put Jordan and Misa. And then
Casey and Kenny.
Casey and Kenny, yeah. So those were the four pairs. And Nani and Bananas pulled the safe dagger. They saved Casey and...
Of course.
Yes. Casey and whatever her brother's name is, Kenny. But we do get, and something we've kind of like glossed over is we had a pretty heavy Laurel episode in that first episode with her leaving. Yeah. What did you think of Laurel this season, and especially in her last episode, and her partnership with Jack, and just how she approached the game? Like, where are you at with Laurel right now?
You know, I'm a Laurel fan. I like Laurel. I think I'm trying to remember the last few episodes that she was in. I think she did a good job in the last episode that we saw her in of like trying to smooth things over. I just think it was too little too late. Like we saw her put this face on. Obviously it wasn't real, but I think if she did that the week before, that's all Michelle was asking for, and they wouldn't have been the people that went in. But because she approached that discussion in the bed like, I don't know what you're asking me, like that gave Michelle carte blanche authority to just put her in, because she didn't make any effort whatsoever. Whereas if she took the approach that maybe she took in the second episode, or whatever, episode 6, then maybe things would have been a little different. I mean, obviously things were a little different just because she was not automatically in, but I just feel like maybe even after that elimination, just being like, listen, I know we got off on the wrong foot, like just try and smooth it over before Michelle and Jay win power again. Like you have to be able to like socially massage these people, and Laurel has it in her. I just don't think she has the timing down, and maybe she could soften a little bit in her interactions with like newer players of the game.
Yeah, that makes sense. What did you think of Jack as a partner for her?
I would like to see Jack back again. I think Jack was interesting. I think he played a really interesting game from the beginning. Like he kind of came in a little sneaky, a little sly, and I like that. Like it wasn't just like, I'm not here for anybody that's here just being like, I'm a beast and I'm just gonna like, no, I don't need that. Like I want you socially to be involved. I want you strategically to be involved. I want you to be messy. Like that's the type of person I like to see play the game. So I enjoyed Jack. What did you think about Jack?
I think I revert to my like experience playing a lot of co-ed sports as an adult, where a lot of the times to me it doesn't matter. Or I think that Laurel is like the I before E except after C part of this rule. In a lot of like co-ed sports to me, it doesn't matter how good your guys are. It matters like how good your women are, because that's like kind of where the equalizer happens. Yeah. And in this instance, like when you're expecting Laurel to carry the team, like athletically, that I think she was screwed. Like I think if this is, I think if this season is same cast and a single season, like Laurel doesn't get touched in terms of going into an elimination, because what woman is volunteering to go in against Laurel? And I'm volunteering, but you know what I mean? Like the women that can beat Laurel, we've seen Laurel lose. We saw her lose to Ninja Natalie on the weird, But with
did she really lose though?
Yeah. She can lose eliminations, and we've seen it happen, but nonetheless, like she's smart, she's strong, she's big. Like those are things those are 3 main characteristics that you want someone who's like good in eliminations, or like not to go against eliminations. And I feel in a way like it was great to have Laurel back, but I would love to see her have like a stronger or even a veteran
Yeah.
partner, because I feel like she doesn't get touched if that happens. Where I think Jack was such a liability for her, not in a way where he intentionally was. I don't think that he did anything to be a liability, but as a rookie, as someone who isn't as like bigger buff as the other guys, and to not get a win to kind of like flex on other people. I think that I don't know how many more Laurel seasons we get, I
Yeah.
guess. And I'm kind of disappointed that this one, I feel not that like Jack brought her down, but I just think like Jack's impact on their success was why Laurel's leaving so early into the season.
I would actually, so I see what you're saying. And I think there's a few aspects to it. I think Jack made up a lot that Laurel didn't socially. Like his
Mm-hmm.
friendship, which obviously his friendship, which I didn't get him anywhere good, but like that's because of Laurel. That's not because of Jack. That's Laurel's fault because Laurel
Mm-hmm.
didn't make a great effort with Michelle or whatever the situation is. Michelle and Laurel just didn't hit it off. I think from a physicality standpoint, the women on this season, I think, are significantly better athletically than most of the women Laurel has gone against in the past. Like
Yeah.
Laurel's been really good against like people like Camilla and other, but like typically she's the shining star of the women on the cast. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
this season we have Casey, who's really good. Nani's in probably top shape. I'm just trying to think. Like Nerys is, she's
Yes. I can't wait to talk
amazing.
about Nerys.
Yeah. Olivia, as much as we don't like her
Tori.
personally, Tori, like the people that are there are people to be reckoned with. So I don't
Yes.
think Laurel would have had such an easy run of it, even if she had like another vet partner. And I think if she did have another vet partner, depending on who wins in power and gets in power, like she could have maybe even gone in a little earlier if a rookie ended up winning.
Yeah, maybe. They got put in pretty early with
Yeah. I guess it was what, like episode
was a
4
rookie.
or
Yeah.
5 they got put in?
Well, even earlier than that, when it was Jack who was telling whoever that Colleen was
Right.
on the
The
mole.
mole.
So that was or
That was
episode like
episode 1, I
one
think.
or two. Yeah,
Yeah, something like
very
that.
early on. So I don't know. I just maybe the honestly probably what it is that I don't think that like Laurel is ever going to. I shouldn't say ever because her first season was Fresh Meat and it was a pairs thing, but Laurel at her best is her on her own, and
Yeah.
um because as you said with the social game, like I don't think Laurel's really ever had to have too strong of a social game because she's so respected and really
Yeah.
feared by the other women of like I don't
Hmm.
want to go in against her. Um so I appreciate what Laurel brings to TV. I don't think that there's many other women that we can think of on the challenge who have the same dynamic as her.
Yeah.
And I wish she was just around a little bit longer.
Yeah, me
Instead,
too.
Casey's still here, so we'll have
Yeah.
some riveting stuff to watch. So yeah,
Laurel is like one of the people on the show who's like a total package to me. She's fun to watch. She
yes,
wins. She's great TV. She's messy. Like those are the people that I want on the show. So it frustrates
mm-hmm.
me to your point that we have like Casey sitting there or like even Tori, who I feel like
Anissa.
hasn't Anissa. It's like these people who are besties that will never go against each other. Nani, Tori, Anissa, Casey are all four of them are not going to put each
Mm-hmm.
other in. And that
Yeah,
bothers me. Like I don't need to see these people on the show all together. Like one of them fine, maybe two of them fine, or I don't know. It's frustrating that they have these built-in like real-time a lot like Casey and Nani are dating. They're never going to go against each other ever. And then we have
mm-hmm.
her brother on the show as well. It's like, what? Tori and Anissa are literal best friends, and then her fiance's ex-fiance's on the show. It's just like, ugh, I don't know. It just bothers me. And then it leaves people like Veronica and Darrell in a really shitty situation because they're just not like in it the way everybody else is
Yeah,
in it. And that's not fun to me. And the same thing with Laurel. Like I don't feel like Laurel is in it the way
no,
that the rest of them are. So it's like she's already playing from, from behind.
yeah, and that's kind of what I was referencing when I was talking about Josh. Is the part that annoys me is that there's this group of them who are working on creating these relationships outside the show, so it benefits them inside the show, and I think that's a different dynamic than what we're used to with like old school challenge because there wasn't social media to keep up with everybody and like you saw who you saw and you didn't see who
Mm-hmm.
you didn't see. Where now like I think things are a lot more intentional in terms of them spending time together and the vacation alliance as they've been called. But no, that I find that very frustrating just in general. Um, Something else that happened, and I can't remember because Nani was up in both of these, right? In both episodes, Nani and
Mm-hmm.
Bananas.
No, not the first one. Because people.
Wait, no,
Oh,
I
no,
thought we
no. It
said yeah,
was. We
they
talked.
were, they were,
Yes, yes,
yeah.
yes, yes.
I can't remember which way one she had the reaction in, but the the way that Nani moved in the episode when her and Bananas won and they had power, she's like, "This is a business deal for me. I'm making money. Like I'm
Yeah.
not here to make friends or whatever." And then the hypocrisy in the way that she reacts when she's been put in there, and like, what?
Especially by Nelson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The like, I won't forget this. Like, I consider you my brother. Get out of here. It's at the end of the day, it's a game, and the way that some people react to these nominations, and even in a way that well, we saw like some old school Jordan
Mm-hmm.
in the way that he was talking to Jay. I don't know, and I think it also gets carried in with like Anissa, who just kind of expects to get brought along because she's Anissa, and I just I don't know. There's so many of these personalities that I like, but I don't like where we're at currently in the expectation of like I should be here because of who I am, not
Yeah.
because of and like because of the relationships I've had for X amount of years. It's one of the great parts because we've gotten to see so many of these people like grow up on television. But in the same way,
Yeah.
we have what's happening now. So
I
and
agree.
being upset about like the lines being drawn in the sand, like you guys are drawing lines in the literal sand on the beach when you vacation together, and then flip out about it when there's people that don't want to work with you because they know they're not as close to you as the people you
Right.
go on vacation with. And to like bring, I don't know, the way they try to pretend, they don't even pretend, but it's just like the way that it's not really mentioned on the show when we all know it's happening. It's frustrating.
Right. And King Cash says, "What are you talking about, Johnny, Kevin? Johnny, Kenny, Evan, Derek did the same thing, protecting each other in the old school." The show is completely different than what it used to be back then. And yes, it that was frustrating as well, but it was like also still good TV and it gave us something to root against where now it's just boring. I'm bored watching Tori and Nani and Casey. I was never bored watching Kenny and Evan and Johnny and Derek. Like, yeah, and but there were also people who like would go, like we had the Wesses, we had other people that would go against
CT,
them, and the
we had,
CTs, like
yeah,
we had bigger characters on the
Pharrell,
show who,
Brad.
yeah, like we had those people who would put up like a formidable, like defense against them, where we
Yeah.
don't have, it's just like they everybody was on the level playing field. It's just people had their built-in alliances. Now it's like we have people who act like they're challenge royalty, and if any rookie dares come near them, it's like, wow, I'm never gonna forget. Like, how dare you fucking come to me? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, you're all on the show for the same reason. Who I don't know why you think you're untouchable. You're not, and that's what frustrates me. Like, get off the show. Just get off the show. I'm just over it. I'm over it with them.
Yeah, and it's become messy quick because of how many teams have to go in at once.
Yes.
So there's this other part where, like, I mean, Jarrell and Veronica are screwed because they're easy people to throw in. And now that, like, they're gone, we're going to see more people, I think, like, turning on each other. But also we're still going to see, like, we basically have two big alliances. And that's kind of what's happened for the last however many seasons of if your alliance if your alliance wins, then you have a chance of being safe. But I don't know. It's just a lot of there's things I like about this season, and then there's things that I'm just like frustrated with in terms, especially of how these people who've been on however many seasons in a row are like reacting just so negatively of like being
Yeah.
put in. Like what? This is literally the game.
Yep. I agree. I feel like what I want to see that we haven't seen in a long time is like two big teams against each other, because I think even like what King Cash was saying too, like we didn't have as many individual challenges or partner challenges back then either. They were like bigger teams, so we got to see fun things happen, like, oh, I'm throwing this challenge so we can vote this person. It's like that was way more interesting to watch, and we had to see people coexist with people they didn't get along with. But when it's like two and then two and then two and everybody can just protect themselves depending on who gets into power, like it just gets really boring really quickly. Put the people who lose in, or put the team that loses have to vote somebody in, and then like the team that gets in power, like vote someone else in from that other team. And that's way more interesting than what we're getting now. Especially bringing in a new vet team every week for like 3 or 4 weeks in a row. Like that doesn't make any sense.
That, and also just make losing matter.
Right.
Because we saw Bananas definitely not helping Nani with the word puzzle.
Right.
And likely throwing it, which like it makes sense. I honestly think it makes a lot of sense to not win challenges in this season, because as soon as you do, you are giving someone a reason to throw you in. You're actually giving 3 teams a reason to throw you in.
Yep.
And
or more, depending on who, like we saw it with Michelle and Jay. I think it was Michelle and Jay throwing in Jordan and Anissa and then whoever else, whatever Tori was close to in that one episode, when she's like, oh, you went for my fiance and my best friend. And it's like she's offended on behalf of them, even though it had nothing to do with her, and they're just playing the game.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and I agree. King Cash just said, even when the underdogs get power, they fumble it. How Jay and Nelson win 4 straight weeks. Yes, I completely agree with that. I completely agree with that.
And that really comes down to what? I mean, Devin got in Nelson's ear. Nelson, you're not the brains of this operation. Let Nerys make decisions. She's clearly the brains. You're the brawn. She's also kind of the brawn too.
Yes, it's true. Also for him to say, like, I can't put in Casey because I could never do that to Nani. I want to bash my head against a wall. Like, stop with this. Just stop. Like, I can't do this. Put Nani and Casey against each other. That's what I want to see. Make them go against each other. Show me that.
So did you catch how they did have to go against each other in the final last year?
I saw like a clip of it. Yeah, I guess they played it.
It got down to 4 men and 4 women, and they did an elimination to get rid of one each. And so Nani and Casey had to go against each other, and it was like, I don't know if you watched the episode last season because it was early on when Michelle and Kari.
Yes, that I did see.
So, you know, when they got like were strapped to someone's back and they had to like push them off, and like Kari caused them to win. So it was that just single, and Casey won the first round. Casey lets Nani win the second round, and then Casey wins the third round.
To let her win and think she has a shot.
I mean, Casey, after the second round, it wasn't, I don't know. It was like a weirdly, I don't want to say like emotional, but I just felt like I was watching something I shouldn't be watching.
Yeah, like I don't want to watch any of this. I don't care. Ugh. I miss Wes. Yeah. I miss old school Wes. Like, bring us someone who doesn't give a shit and wants to shake it up and doesn't care about the personal relationships. Like, that's what I want to see. These personal relationships just go way too deep.
That's like, again, the double-edged sword of the show, where I absolutely love that I've gotten to see CT. And I guess like CT is kind of an enigma with this. So I use him as the example, but we see CT go from real world Paris to 40 years old winning 2 challenges in a row, right? And like getting to see his evolution through everything is crazy. But then you have the other side of it. Well, like if you keep coming back and there's this core group that keeps coming back, these relationships form. And the relationships are tough to break for even someone like we said, Michelle and Jay. It's not like they're new to this, but their bonds are not what these other people have.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I think CT kind of does fall, maybe not as much, but like people don't put in. There was that one season where CT just like floated the entire way. I don't even remember which season it was.
He did that last season.
I mean, it's like every season, like no one comes for him, which isn't, that's annoying too, where it's like, oh, it's CT, we can't go after CT. It's like, no, go for CT right at the beginning. Like, I love CT. I want CT to stay around, but like he shouldn't get a pass just because he's CT and he's a legend. Like that sucks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's also managed to keep himself like out of he has relationships with people, but it's not in a way where he won't do what he has to do. I
Right.
think he kind of just like tries to keep the peace as much as possible so that he doesn't get a target on him, which I guess for
Who
someone
wants
like
that from
CT,
CT? I don't want that from CT.
but that's the thing is like I think he has to play that way. Otherwise, if you give people a reason to go for
Mm.
you, they do. And that happened the season that Jay got him out, where like
Yeah.
they had a reason to go after him. So I kind of get it. Um, what else? Okay, well let's finish up with that first episode. We can talk more
Yeah.
about because I feel like a lot of this like block of four, this like Nelson Nerys sandwich of I guess the sandwich would be Jay and Michelle with
They would
Nelson
be
and
like the
Nerys
meat
bread.
of this. Yeah, they would be
Yeah,
the meat of the sandwich.
and Nelson and Nerys are the bread of it all.
Mm-hmm.
But we see Jack and Laurel lose to Jordan and Anissa in a form of dodgeball, which, by the way, I would have ran shit on this challenge, by the way. Like, I love throwing things. When I saw this, I was like, this is the limit. I would volunteer. Put me in, coach. I want to go down to the zone, which I just learned we're calling it the zone. What a stupid name. But
Is it it's
my,
the zone?
yeah.
I hate that.
My favorite part of this, though, and I don't think, like, I definitely don't like this type of cockiness in real life. I have an appreciation for it in sports, though. But when Jordan turns to Jay, it was just like, I fucking told you so, and lobs the ball to hit the target, like, right after pointing and talking shit. Oh my God. I love that type of stuff. That was so good.
I always appreciate a poor sport on TV. So like even in professional sports, like I root for poor sports just because it's fun to watch. So like I love that. Sore winners, sore losers, give it all to me. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I love a good bat flip. I love there's I used to be of the camp of like in football especially like act like you've been there. And I do think that there's times you should act like you've been there before when you score a touchdown. Then there's other times where I think you have every right to not act like you've been there before.
Yeah.
And if it's like I don't know if you remember a few weeks ago I can't remember the game, but basically it was like the game tying touchdown and the guy took his helmet off after he got outside
Yep.
the end zone and he like Lambo leaped, but it wasn't a Lambo leap because they weren't at Lambo and they called the
Yes.
penalty on him for that. Well, more
Yep.
for the helmet, which then the kicker missed the extra point, which put it into um, overtime, which then that team ended up losing. But like,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
sorry,
rough.
that celebration was really not that bad. Like, he should be acting the way he
No.
just did because that throw was stupid as well. Like the whole thing was crazy. I love that type of thing, but just I don't know when someone can shit talk and then back it up. Oof, that gets me going. I
Yeah.
love
I
it.
love that. No, I love that too.
And
I love that too.
Jordan just being like, "I told you."
Yeah. I love it for anyone who's not Johnny Bananas.
Yeah,
He's like the exception to
yeah.
that rule for me.
No, I agree. So Laurel goes home, Jack goes home. TJ calls Laurel the goat. Laurel was funny like before the elimination. She's like, I want to be pissed off going into elimination. I have all these people saying nice things about me. How am I supposed to be angry? That would like
Yeah.
definitely be my reaction
Yeah.
as well. Be like, stop complimenting me. Tell me I
Yeah.
suck. I need to get fired up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
It has to
sad
be an
to see
advantage to
Laurel
go into the
go.
elimination fired up. Like,
Yeah.
it feels like the adrenaline would help you. Maybe, unless it's like a puzzle.
Yeah. No, I just thought of like the next elimination and just like what adrenaline would do for you in the instance of where you have to like pencil your way down those Chuck E. Cheese nets
Yeah, this was a weird one. That was a weird one.
Yeah. But we can get there. So,
Mm-hmm.
in conclusion, Laurel and Jack are gone. Michelle and Jay probably piss off even more people because they didn't just put Laurel and Jack back in. They put Jordan and Anissa in instead because of the way that Jordan spoke to Jay, which I kind of appreciate of like, okay, you want to fuck around? Now find
Yeah.
out. And putting them in. So, like, was it the smartest thing? No, but I do appreciate the backbone on Jay being like, run your fucking mouth and find out what
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah, I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it.
Just wasn't like smart
No.
challenge wise, but they're in a weird place anyway. I don't think anything they could do at this point would really like go well for them.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, who could they possibly partner up with at this point? Horacio
I
and
think it's just
Olivia
really Nelson, Nerys, and Olivia and Horacio.
and Amber and Chauncey?
Amber and Chauncey, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, there's teams there besides them that are winning between Nelson, Nerys, and Olivia and Horacio came in second in the challenge that Jay and Michelle won. So it's
Right.
not like they have weak teams surrounding them. I really don't think that Amber and Chauncey are that strong of a team.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think so either.
I
I
don't
think
feel like
Amber's probably strong individually. We've seen her do well.
I think she
Not that
can just
Chauncey's not, but
run.
I mean, that's something.
She can't do puzzles
Yeah,
and
that's really
math.
bad. Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad.
Like, honestly, she got her win. And CT kind of even said this later in the season last season. He was like, Amber's not that great. And like, Amber fans, leave me alone because you guys are like a very stubborn, strong headed group of fans. But like, she's good at running. However, there's not much else. And like, she won because she was partnered with CT because CT was able to do the math and the puzzles.
Yeah.
And Amber was one kind of being like the rabbit that CT had to chase in the horse race type of thing. And he said that. So unless she has a partner like a CT who can do the
Mm-hmm.
puzzles, like honestly, I think she could win with like a Devin. I don't think that would ever
Probably.
happen, but she could win with like a Devin. I don't think it has to be someone who can complement her
Yeah.
weaknesses.
Yeah.
She has, I should know the name of this as a 11-year math teacher, but whatever the dyslexic form of numbers is. Uh,
Does she actually have that?
yeah. She said that in the season that she
Oh.
won.
Oh. Well,
Yeah.
that makes it tough.
In the same way that like, so Devin is dyslexic, and which makes sense why they didn't beast through the puzzle because it was a word puzzle.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah, we learned that last season. He said that in the final of last season, the last, like the final part of the final, which I know I'm saying final 5 times in a row, but that's the only way I can can explain it. They had to run up a mountain, and there was like a 20-digit code, and they had to run back down the mountain and put that code in to like open the lock and get their prize, right?
Mm.
And so each team split it 10 numbers and 10 numbers. They were the last team up to the top of the mountain, the last team back down. And when they got back down, Devin, you had to finish in order to be able to have the opportunity to win money. Devin just beep, 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 all 20 numbers without even needing his partner's input. Memorized
Wild.
the 20 digit. And then in addition, in his confessional, he rattled off the number, which they usually do the confessionals the next day
Yeah.
for the end of the season. He's like, I'll never forget this number. I used to have to like memorize. I would read the night before and memorize what I knew I would have to read out loud in class. So like I wouldn't look like an idiot. Like I have a very good memory,
That's
and
sad.
I've always liked numbers more than
Hmm.
words because of this. So we got a little bit of insight to Devin's brain near the end of last season.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, but he just came down and put in a 20-digit number
That's pretty
without needing
wild.
his partner. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
I, and
We
after
needed that
climbing
from we needed that from Justine and the Challenge USA.
Yeah, it wouldn't have mattered. They would have let her not finish that leg anyway.
That's
So.
true. That's true.
We talked a bit. Well, we're closing that door.
Yeah.
We've already had the door open for the other episode where Nerys and Nelson win. And I do have a couple questions about the daily challenge. We even talked about the previous episode's daily challenge. Quite frankly, I don't even remember it. But
yeah,
I know there was swimming involved. And it was the word puzzle. It was a word puzzle with like amigo in it, because I remember Michelle being like, Jay brought in some of his like Spanish heritage, which I don't know if he's actually from Spain or not literally, but like has family.
Idea.
But anyway, maybe speaking Spanish, but we've been moving.
Yeah.
So in this challenge, you had to run a certain distance. One partner had to stand on this pole. I shouldn't even say pole, like a peg almost, that allowed the other teammate to see the puzzle. So like it opened these blinds, and the blinds would only stay open for as long as you and your partner could stay on the peg thing.
Yeah, it was like 1 foot, right? They had to balance on
it. Yeah. Like you're balancing on that for max 3 to 4 seconds.
Yeah.
So here's my question. At the end of it, we've got Nerys and Nelson, Tori and Devin are like the two teams who are distinctively in the lead.
Yep.
And both teams said we only have 2 pieces left, like a pink piece and a green piece or whatever it was, right? Why did they have to run all the way back?
That was my question as well. I think maybe there were more pieces than necessary to finish the puzzle, because I didn't get it either. Because I was like, why wouldn't you just try one, get a check, and then if it's not it, flip it? But I think there were more pieces than needed to finish, so they didn't only have 2 to choose from. Because it looked like on the sand there were more there, so I think they actually had to like go back and see which ones they were. Even though like you could still probably just like put the pieces up and check it. But maybe that was a rule that they just didn't tell us, that you only got like 1 shot and then you have to go back and check it.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, because I thought as well, I saw like, oh, maybe there's more pieces, but there couldn't have been enough pieces to justify running all the way there, all the way back, versus just doing the puzzle.
I agree.
So that was confusing to me. And so I was wondering, was there a timing out situation where once you get to your puzzle, you can only work on it for 2 minutes and then you have to run back?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
I was very confused that both of them were like, oh, we only have 2 pieces left. Like, why running then?
Yeah. That was, I had the same thought when I was watching it, and I don't feel like it got properly explained, but my assumption was that there were just more pieces and that they had to run back. Like, I guess that was a rule that they had to run back. I don't know.
Yeah.
Leave it to the challenge to not finish
explain something. It's just very out of character for them.
Really. They're usually so good at the production.
So yeah, if the chat knows, or if you're like looking on Reddit right now, if someone's brought this up.
Yeah.
But I definitely have a question there. Maybe
maybe
this is how we start a friendship with the challenge person, because this is kind of how we start our friendship with Melissa, where we're like, we're asking her this question if something doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And now we're best friends.
True. Besties. We're besties.
It's true. So Nelson and Nerys win. And all right, I know we're an hour and 3 minutes into this, and I'm sorry for waiting so long to do this, but I made this claim on Twitter, and I want to make it out loud here on this podcast. If they do not bring Nerys back next season, I won't watch.
Whoa. Are you going to not watch the same way I'm not watching, but I'm actually watching?
Probably, because I feel obligated to podcast about it. But I do feel that strongly. She's so good.
She is really good.
Good confessionals. She's got, I mean, like, she was hooking up with people night 1. I'm sure she has good relationships going on with people. She's also, like Bananas said, like, Nerys is keeping pace with Nelson. Like, Nelson is the fastest person in the house, and Nerys is keeping pace with him, and she's smart.
Yeah, she's great. I mean, she was so impressive in this daily challenge, where I feel like the running was just so impressive. Like, she beasted through. And Nelson is impressive too. Like, I didn't realize Nelson could run that way, like had so much endurance. And he was great. He impressed me too. Like just the way that they worked together. He was really supportive. I thought he was a really good partner.
Valencia replied this to me on Twitter too when I said it. Oh wait, not that.
TJ hates quitters.
TJ hates
It's true.
quitters.
TJ does hate quitters.
But
It's true.
the other reason I feel that way, and I know we have our issues with Olivia, but Nerys, Olivia, Horacio, and I feel this way about Kim and Colleen as well. Like, you have 5 rookies that are all worth bringing back next season. And they are more likely to last longer if you bring them back. They might have another season or 2 of growing pains in terms of like really wedging their way in. But if we keep one and dunning these rookies, we just keep setting up this whole vet rookie storyline that we see every single season. And like, Nerys benefits from being on a team with Nelson, and Nelson is one of the better connected people in the house, but she's also benefiting from the fact that they're winning, and she's a huge reason why they're winning.
Oh yeah, totally. She's great. She's really great. I think she's probably the best addition this season so far, in my opinion.
Yeah. So I just feel this way because one of my biggest gripes, like I said, in how do we fix the challenge is sign rookies to 2-season contracts.
I feel like we need, I know I just kind of said this, but like a long stretch of these big team challenges to force people who wouldn't normally work together to work together. Mm-hmm. And I think that would shake things up enough where they would have to be forced into these working relationships with people, and things maybe would switch up a little bit for a time and then go back to a pair season in like 3 seasons from now. Or individuals, but not really. I mean, individuals doesn't really do the same thing.
A rival season is also good for that. I feel like I think a reason that Cara Maria really got that boost in her challenge career was the season that her and Laurel were rivals together, because they had to work together. Laurel ends up defending her, and like, if you fuck with me, or if you fuck with Cara, you're fucking with me type of thing. That, like, I don't know. I think we see some relationships that didn't exist end up starting to exist. Or on the other side of it, you get episodes like the time that Zach and Amanda refused to agree and had to do a challenge in their fucking street clothes.
Yeah, and blew it.
So I don't know. I think we need a rival season.
Yeah, we're overdue.
We're due for one. We're
really way overdue.
But the other issue is, like, who do you have for rivals? Like,
well, that's the thing.
Who's Tori's rival?
Me. I'll volunteer.
Okay, the joke that I'm laughing at that I made in my head is like, oh, great, we're gonna get to be the rival podcast to Devin and Davon because we'll have a challenger on our since you go on the season.
And I'll keep it real. I would tell the truth.
So I just think that a lot of these, I mean, like, are you gonna put Amber and Casey together? There's a rivals pair. Who do some of these people have as rivals? Like, who's Fessy's rival?
Me. I'll be his rival as well.
Who's Josh's rival? Because, like, it used to be Devin. Now him and Devin are friends.
Pauly Calafiore, but I never want Pauly Calafiore back on the show, so.
Yeah. That's the issue with casting a rival season is, I don't know.
It's true. They're all, like, so intertwined that even, like, Bananas and Wes are not really rivals. They're, like, good friends.
Yeah. I mean, Wes called Bananas with his phone call home during All Stars.
I can't.
So
I'm not over that.
I think that's the issue. I think a lot of us as, like, old school challenge fans really used to call out, like, oh, you're doing this so you'll have a good rivals partner. But now it's been so long that so many of these players benefit from becoming friends with each other.
Yeah. There's no true rivalries.
Yeah. Who are you going to?
I guess you could have Laurel and Michelle.
That's exactly what I was saying. Yeah. Michelle and Laurel, Jay and Jack. And
That's it. Jay and Jordan, maybe.
Right. Jay's getting some rivals, but so yeah, we've got. I just need to go back, Nerys. You better be back next season.
Yeah.
I'll be mad if you aren't.
Same.
And I really, I bring back those rookies that I mentioned. I do think that we lost out on at least one other good rookie from 37 coming back because I don't know if you remember Emmanuel, but he was like with Michelle early in the season and then with Tori later on. And his ride or die was supposed to be Emmy, who called CT Uncle CT last season. She had the blue hair.
Yes, she said that
with
word,
the braces.
Right?
Yeah, she said, I'm not defending this by any means. She said the N-word while I think rapping like a Nicki Minaj song. And it was
Didn't
like
she say that like Romanians don't know that that's a bad word or something? Like, come on.
Something where like she shouldn't have defended herself in the way that she did.
Yeah.
Yeah, they like dropped her at the airport because that resurfaced.
She was a pain in the ass anyway.
Oh, she was annoying.
Yeah, like annoying as hell.
But I would have loved to have Emmanuel back because he was really good. He got eliminated the elimination before the final.
Fun fact about Emmanuel, if anybody has ever watched Eurovision, this last season he was a backup dancer for the Romanian song in Eurovision.
Oh, that makes sense because he's a dancer. That was like something they kept bringing on about him. But yeah, I would like to see Romania.
Well, I'll be there.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Maybe I'll run into them.
Send pictures.
Yeah.
All right, so that daily challenge happens. We've expressed our confusion, and then we also have already expressed confusion with Nelson and Neris's decision, which really seemed more like Devin and Nelson's decision, and then really Nelson's decision of instead we thought that Bananas and Nani were going to go in, but he puts
I knew as soon as they were like, that's the plan, don't divert from the plan. I was like, okay, they're not going in.
The part that got me was Nelson saying, I'm a man of my word to the teams, though. Like, you're not going in, I'm a man of my word. And I don't think he said that to Amber and Chauncey. I think he said it to Jarrell and Veronica.
Yeah.
So, what do you think of Jarrell and Veronica's appearance on this season?
I'm disappointed because I feel like they were set up to fail. Because they came in so late, because they were the last team in, they missed so much time. Because I do think they would have probably worked with people who were not vets in the show. I think obviously Darrell and Amber have a really good relationship. I think they could have integrated themselves really well with like the Michelles and other people. And I think if they were there from week one, they would have been in a much better social position. But because they came in so late, and people were just like, oh, well, let's just throw them in because they don't have any relationships with anyone. And then it's like, oh, we're throwing vets in and we've already thrown Veronica and Darrell in, so we may as well put them in. It took away any real agency they had unless they won every single challenge, which, like, as much as I love Veronica, I think Veronica is very good at the game strategically and socially. She is not a physical threat in a lot of ways. So with the way that the challenges are now being so physical, I just don't think that they ever had a real chance.
No, I agree. And I mean, who is Veronica supposed to align with? Anissa?
I guess, but Anissa is so
right
in like the challenge life that Veronica's not. So like she's never going to choose Veronica over Tori. And that's kind of what Veronica was saying. Like, yeah, we're friends, but like she's in it with these people.
Yeah. And that's kind of my point is, okay, Veronica is a legend in herself. Like, sure, the challenges that Veronica won versus the challenges that get won now are two entirely different beasts. But she was always so progressive, so outspoken, and really like provided probably like one of the, I don't want to say like one of the first, but one of the more prominent like LGBTQ
Yeah.
voices on reality TV early on, the shirts she would wear, like now, like what Veronica was doing 20 years ago is just like kind of what we expect every day from reality TV.
Yeah.
And sorry, but we to like bring her into this, like, yeah, it's so cool to see Veronica back on and battle her way through this elimination. Like she isn't the reason they lost.
No, she did. She did really well. I
She did
mean,
what she needed to, especially like as a fellow short person. I as I was watching, I'm like, oh shit, that's not gonna be easy.
no, she did great. And like, I don't know, guys, practice puzzles. I don't know. That puzzle didn't seem
Yeah,
hard at all.
right. Uh, it just feels like when you don't give people a natural ally,
Yep.
why bring them on? Like I feel like I said this in the when I was podcasting about the circle as well, that I feel like it's just not fair to bring in these people or personalities who they don't have a natural match to go to. And
Yeah.
who are Jarrell and Veronica gonna pair up with in there? Like,
Even Darrell, other than Amber, didn't really have anybody that he could.
yeah,
He's not close with Bananas. He is whatever, I guess, with Jordan. Like, they obviously know each other, but there's no one there that would be natural for them to align with, for sure.
yeah, I agree. And so it's cool to see them, but like politely, maybe not Darrell, although it pains me to say this. I don't know if Darrell is ever going to win another challenge on the challenge. But give
Yeah.
me them in their all stars glory, where I think Veronica would struggle a little bit more to win a challenge there. But I mean, Darrell was a lock away from winning a couple of seasons ago with
Yeah.
I can't remember her name, but the nurse from the Bay Area.
Oh, Janelle?
Thank you. Yeah, I
Yeah.
would never would have gotten there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been forgetting so many people's names today.
That's okay.
People's names and easy words. I
Oh,
was
yeah.
my one-on-one with my manager, both of us were in the same meeting earlier, and I was like, you know that person who like kind of did, and he goes, I know who you're talking about. I don't know, like neither of us could name names. So we were basically just like describing everyone and everything that happened. It was dumb. That's how I feel today. So I started my day off with using conditioner first instead of shampoo. So if that
Oh,
that
no.
just set the tone for it all. But yeah, I just think that they were set up to fail, especially bringing them in so late. It didn't give them an opportunity to really get their footing in with like the rookies.
Right.
If you have Darrell and Veronica, Amber and Chauncey, Jay and Michelle, and then the rookies, that is far more fair than it is bringing these people in
Yeah.
one after
Yeah.
another. And so, yeah, I
And
agree.
I
They
feel
were set to
like
fail.
she would have had an option to connect with Kayla because she worked with Kayla on All Stars.
Right,
So that would have been
right.
a good connection for them, even though I'm not a Kayla fan. But like Veronica could have
Right.
integrated herself there and like they could have probably found their footing at some
Yep.
point.
No, absolutely. I agree with that. I forgot about that entirely. Ah, so
Kayla being on the show feels like it was 2 years ago and we are only 7 episodes in.
I don't like, I 100% agree with that, but I don't want to agree with it in the way where it makes it seem like I feel like this season is long.
Yeah.
I
it just
feel like
feels like time is not real.
right, that it's a social construct in this
Yeah.
instance, but it does seem like it was a while ago.
Yeah.
Back in the good old days where it was, vets being thrown in. We miss
Yeah.
you,
And we
Johnny.
had Johnny and Raven, right? Her name was?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was fun.
So in this elimination, we have Amber and Chauncey getting thrown in by Nelson, and Amber's torn up about this because we saw a conversation earlier in the episode where she was like, you're really the only vet that I trust and has given me like a chance to be me. And Nelson probably had his judgment clouded by the conversation happening the night before with Devin and Michelle and all that. So
what do you think about Devin's choice? I mean, not Devin's choice, sorry, Nelson's choice to tell Amber in the interrogation that he's like, yeah, no, you're not in my top.
yeah,
Because she's back in the house now.
Yeah, that was dumb.
Yeah.
You never like you can't give up that information.
No. No, that was weird. That was a weird decision.
Yeah. I mean, she probably didn't need Nelson to tell her since they're sitting in the interrogation
Right. But like why then
to
why exactly?
to
Like you're
confirm it with your words. Yeah, that's
yeah.
not smart.
No.
So, Amber and Chauncey are automatically in, and then Nani and Bananas yet again pick the safe dagger.
So annoyed.
So they,
I mean, Donnie's and Bananas probably would have won this anyway.
yeah, yeah,
So I
absolutely.
guess it doesn't make sense for them to have gone in, but I'm just annoyed.
Right, I agree with you. So we have Jarrell and Veronica who go in, and like we've said, the nets were like out of Chuck E. Cheese, the
Yeah.
playgrounds at McDonald's that were
Mm-hmm.
open pre-COVID.
Yeah.
You had to go down them, get a piece, then going back up was harder, especially for Veronica because she is not tall to like pull herself up. But afterwards, there was a puzzle, and it took them forever to finish the puzzle. Anyone could have won this challenge.
Yeah. I mean, Veronica put up a good fight and she did it. She did what she needed to do to get back up and perform. So, like, I don't know. The puzzle is a great equalizer, but it didn't work out in Jarrell and Veronica's favor.
I just thought that I don't know why I thought Veronica was better at puzzles,
Me
but she was
too.
just kind of like staring off the side of the ledge and
Yeah, I
not
don't
doing the
really know what
puzzle.
was going on here. Like, this did not, the puzzle just had to line up to make like a bunch of eights.
Yeah,
So it didn't seem that difficult to me. I mean,
no.
obviously I wasn't doing it, so I don't know. Maybe it was, but like,
Hmm.
guys, what are we doing? What are we doing here? And they didn't even seem like they were hustling.
No.
A little weird.
Yeah. But Amber and Chauncey won, so now they're back in the house. Although, to me, Amber and Chauncey have quickly gained themselves like the vote in
Yeah. Probably
almost
over
exclusively.
Jay and Michelle. I mean, they'll be one of the four. Jay and Michelle and Amber, if depending on who wins.
Right. And that's that. That was our 2 weeks of the challenge. I
I
didn't
would have
watch the preview for next week. I had to turn it off because I
I don't
think I
think I
was
did
like,
either.
oh, because it butted up right against a meeting. So I was like, I gotta go.
Yeah, I don't if I did, I don't remember what happened in the preview, but I really would have liked to have seen Nelson throw in Fessy.
Yeah, same.
Fessy just gets too much of an easy ride. It just doesn't make any sense.
Hmm.
So here we are.
Because there's no guaranteeing that like Fessy and Mariah would have won that one because of the
No.
puzzle.
Right. I don't know if Fessy's. I mean, I'm going to assume, based on what we know of him, that he's not good at puzzles.
Yeah.
So that's
Maybe
where we
next
are. I
time.
feel like the season really came in hot and was really good. And in like week over week, it's just getting a little bit like we're losing the plot a little bit. I'm still enjoying it, but it just feels like I don't know. I don't love the direction that we're heading.
I think it's hard. I've already said this, but I think it's hard when the people who act one way when they're in power then act the exact opposite way when they are not in power. What's the word? When they're vulnerable and potentially going in and like in Nani in one episode saying like this is a business transaction for me, then why is it not a business transaction for anybody else? Like, why
Right.
are you the only person who is allowed to come in with this if it's not me, like fuck everyone else type of attitude? Like, how come? And I know that this might not be a popular thing to say, like, how come people are mad that Devin is pulling puppet strings if it's going to move him farther in the game? Like, and given he shouldn't have talked to Michelle the way he did, but to be able to influence Nelson's vote, I don't know, like Nelson allowed it to happen. And then when
Right.
people, I don't know, I just don't like the hypocrisy. And that's kind of what brings my enjoyment down
Yeah.
is when um I know that there's money on the line, and I know that these people are your friends, but at the end of the day, like, this is a game.
Right. And I think that's in the same vein. What bothers me is the entitlement of people who feel like they're challenge royalty, which we've talked about already too. Like,
Yeah.
God forbid you touch Nani or Bananas or whoever. Like, I mean, even them, I feel like Bananas is very much like, oh, I expected this like weeks ago or whatever. But anybody else, like, I just feel like the entitlement is like off the charts. Eric asks, do we think they're going to switch the format up? I don't think so.
I don't
It
think
feels
so
like they're
either.
going really deep into this ride or die thing. If they switch the format up, I feel like I'll be really annoyed by it because then it just like insulates people even more depending on what the change would be.
I could see the change being instead of 4 teams being called down and one of them automatically going in, maybe being 3 teams going down. And so if you don't pull
As
the
we get
safe
closer.
dagger, you're automatically in. I could see that happening. I would
Yeah.
actually love if they kept 3 daggers though, and so there was an extra, and if the extra one that doesn't get pulled is a safe, then the team who's in power has to pick a second team to go in, or even letting the team who is put in by the team in power choose who they go against. I could
Yeah.
see that happening, but I don't think we're going to leave these pairs.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to leave the pairs either. I guess I didn't really think about the elimination format because at a certain point, winning is going to become much more important
Mm-hmm.
because of throwing 4 teams in. But I guess at that point, like, who knows how many teams are going to go into the final? Maybe like 18. I don't know. The way
Yeah.
you never know. But yeah, I would like to see something get switched up with the elimination. That could be interesting.
I do have a compliment for Johnny Bananas I need to get off my chest.
Let me brace
He
myself.
is
Okay.
He's challenge royalty. I say that with air quotes. I didn't actually do. However, I really have been okay with how he has reacted to being put in. He hasn't done
Yeah.
anything where I've been like, okay, shut up, Bananas. Like, we get it, you're Bananas. Where it's really been Nani more for me than it has been Bananas. Like,
Yeah, I'm done with Nani. I'm like, I could never see Nani again. I'd be fine with it.
to me, it feels like Bananas is if not okay with it, at least accepts it. But he also does go into each interrogation. You can tell, like, with a plan for social strategic conversation there.
Mm-hmm.
So there is that component of it. He doesn't at least make it seem that he's like so upset. And I mean, he even
Yeah.
said, like, I don't know why we weren't in the first time when Jay and Michelle won. So
Yeah.
I will say that my annoyance is, and some of it's kind of also carried over from reading some of the podcast transcripts or like the summaries of it, where
Mm.
like when Jay and Michelle were on after the first time they won, and like Anissa wouldn't let them even get a word in there because she was still mad that they
Oh
like
my
put her
God. Get
in.
over it.
Yeah. So um I do want to say that, but I don't think I have anything else to say about the challenge this week.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say to uh, that's relatively positive about Bananas is that he was right about Devin. And it's like scary that Johnny Bananas, who speaks or has spoken to women in such a disgusting and degrading way, was the one that they decided to show. I'm sure other people had things to say, but they decided to show. At least he was on the right side of it. That's what I'll say. Even if you use the word gaslighting incorrectly.
Mm-hmm.
Although, did he?
Listen,
Because I guess he was trying to say, like, no, you were in this conversation. And Michelle's like, what are you talking about? I don't know. Was she there? I don't know if she was there. Or if she heard it.
I think in order for it to be gaslighting, Michelle has to then question if she was,
True.
where she was just like, no,
True.
I wasn't. Devin was just lying and being manipulative.
Attempting to
Yeah.
gaslight. Yeah.
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 So, in conclusion, please use the word gaslight correctly. That
Please, it'll
should
make
be
Kari really
everyone's
happy.
New Year's resolution for 2023
Yeah.
is I will properly use the word gaslight, which in all honesty means 90% of you will never have to use the
Never
word
have to use
gaslight.
it. Yeah. Yeah. And that should be the hope, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Katie, what are you doing online these days?
Well, while Twitter still exists, you can follow me there at RealSimKatie. I've signed up for like every other Twitter replacement possible just so I could keep the name RealSimKatie and not have to have an underscore on it, but I don't have any real plans to move anywhere yet. I'm still enjoying Twitter for what it is, even though I check it much less regularly now. But you can follow me there if you'd like to. You can also follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/RealSimKatie with an underscore. And I'm still here on Silent Podcast doing our thing. Obviously in a little bit of a lull. We've been on hiatus with both this and Cool Water Show, but we'll be back with Cool Water Show later this week to talk all things Potomac and Salt Lake City. Naomi and I will be recording a finale podcast for Andor. We're covering the last 3 episodes. We just do not have a date scheduled yet that we will be doing it, but we will be. And Andor started and ended fantastically, so definitely check it out. Even if you're not a Star Wars fan, it's great. So I can't wait to talk about the finale. They nailed the ending, so I'm really happy to talk about it. And that's really it. You could probably catch me coming up at some point on Isaiah's rewatch of Big Brother Project, given some of the seasons that are coming up. So check me out there too, eventually.
Valencia's like doing my whole bit in the chat, so I don't even
She's got you covered.
Yeah. Thanks,
Valencia's
Valencia.
a real one.
I'll just read the script from what you're saying. For me online, I am KGD26, basically everywhere. And podcasts, yeah, it's just this and Real Housewives. Like Katie said, I was traveling all last week and in a not podcasting conducive household because there was 4 dogs. So it was loud in there. It was definitely loud. So we're back though, and intermittently, just basically like think of us as a Christmas present or like a Hanukkah present when we show up. And come 2023, I mean, probably not even 2023, probably like 2 weeks from now, we'll like be back consistently.
Yes.
But
we will probably not be back next week because I am traveling out of the country for work. But after that, we should be back to normal, mostly.
Yeah. My 2-class schedule for my doctorate ends in like 5 days. So I will definitely be more of a human, and more of a human really just means watching more TV. That's really what I do.
What could be
better? if I'm not reading research and writing about it, which is fucking riveting, I'm watching reality TV. So using this brain for only good things.
Yep.
But yeah, follow me, KGD26. And then otherwise, you can, listen to us, watch us on the internet in different places if I find the banner. So we are on Twitch and YouTube, Silent Podcast, search and subscribe. We are on Twitter, silent_podcast, so definitely interact with us there. You can listen to us in podcast form, which is on Apple, Spotify, anywhere else you might listen to podcasts. And as Valencia will tell you in the chat, if you aren't going to give us 5 stars, then just come back to another episode when it is 5 stars. We might not be 5 stars all the time, but sometimes we are. And on those, you should let us know. Leave us a review. But until then, I mean, this was 5 stars. We're always 5 stars.
Yeah. So. When are we not?
I mean, when my internet goes out or...
No, even then. It's relatable content.
Yeah, honestly, who else doesn't have internet issues? Even though the thing is right there. But yeah, so listen to us. Also, we've got Isaiah just interviewed Taylor, aka the winner of Big Brother, whatever last season just happened, 24. And about Beyonce's Renaissance album. Yep. So there's some crossover content that you're not going to get really anywhere else. That's pretty cool. So
yeah, and we're working on some good guests for Cool Water Show coming up soon once our schedule's normal. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun over there.
Yes,
we're dabbling into the guest game on the Housewives show.
Yes, which reminds me I need to reach out about some other guests. But yeah, we're trying to keep it fresh over here. So in conclusion, just like tell your friends to listen to us, unless they like work with me. Some work people I've like had to give them this, and I don't know if they listen or not.
Wait, why have you had to?
Well, because I it came up, and then so like they kept asking. So what was I gonna do? Like give them a fake podcast? So like I
Yeah.
can give like a fake number. Like just go to like RHAP. You'll find me on there. Like what am I
Yeah.
supposed to do? So I just hope that they don't watch any of the shows that I talk about, and then they'll never listen to me.
Fair.
But
It's my
I
biggest
told
fear
them
that
like,
people in my real life will find this. So I get it.
yeah, I gave the heads up. Like I don't remember anything I say on these things. So if I say something stupid, don't hold it against me.
Yeah. Same.
But all right, well, we will catch you next time. So we'll probably do another double episode in like 2 weeks because Katie's got to go visit a different country.
I
And
will. Yeah.
we
Maybe
support
we
her
can
in
work out
that.
the weekend, perhaps, but we'll see. We'll talk about it offline.
Listen, we don't
Yeah.
need to rush anything. It's fine.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. But we'll be back for sure. So until
Yes.
then, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you later. Bye.
Bye.